Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for Organized Plays Events UK Treasure Cup that happened this past weekend. It was 512 players, 9 rounds of Swiss best of 1 to a top 16 best of 3 that played out to get this top 16 that we see here today. So a lot of shout outs real quick before we get into this one, more than usual. So first, Organized Play Events for running this event, also streaming it. Check out their Facebook. They dropped the list today, for me, at least my today, and they posted these text lists as well, and they have their streams here. So they have a Swiss VOD. I think they lost internet throughout the day, which is pretty common at convention centers. So I think there's a couple videos, but that's the first one. And then they also have their top 16 VOD here. So make sure to check those out if you want to see some action, as well as I woke up this morning, I saw that there were the text lists, so I was going to manually input them myself, but I was very surprised to see that Blessed Pack already did the hard work for me, so I really do appreciate it. Honestly, it's a lot of work, trust me, so to be gifted just all these deck lists to go over without having to do them myself is really, it just means, like, it just helps me out a lot. It's a nice blessing. So to pay him back, if you guys, for me, could go over there, hit that subscribe and like button on his video. He also has interviews with first and second place, so make sure to check that out. I would really appreciate it, and then pay it back for all the hard work it did to put these deck lists, because they were just text deck list instead, so they're kind of hard to analyze. So thank you very much there. And while you guys are liking and subscribing videos, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button over here as well. We do a lot of One Piece content, a lot of Bandai content, and we're trying to get to 10k subs by the end of the month. So anyways, enough of that. We will go into this top 16 breakdown with the leaders. So we have 6 Eustass kids, 4 Kaidos, 4 Trafalgar Laws, 1 Doffy, and 1 Luffy as well. So I think Kid generically is the favorite in a lot of ways. It is probably the cheapest deck to play. It is probably the most straightforward. I mean, Kaido is straightforward too, but it's a little RNG based. But I think consistency wise, it is probably the strongest deck in the meta right now. And I think a lot of people, it's probably the most represented leader in each one of the treasure cups we've had in this past weekend. So I'm not very surprised it got 6 tops there. No Zoro in this top 16, but there is 1 Luffy. So another point for me on the Luffy's better than Zoro. But I think, I don't know, like I don't know. I really do like Luffy, and I think Zoro does have a spot, but I also wonder if it's also just a difference in meta depending on where you live, and it's really kind of hard to get some of these deck lists from different countries, different regions, especially if there's a language barrier. But man, if we get them and we get to see them, I think it's really fascinating to see how different regions play the game differently. They have different play styles, and just because the overall meta is different, the tech picks are different too. So I think it's really interesting there. So anyways, we're going to go over the top placing leader for each one of these, starting off with the first place list of Jose Gonzalez with Trafalgar Law. Starting off, we have Jose Gonzalez's first place Trafalgar Law list, and we've been seeing Trafalgar Law do stuff over here in North America. It was undefeated in Swiss and got second place at the Long Beach event here in the United States, and I know that they got some tops over in the Niagara Falls event as well. The base differences that I see in this one is, one, it's dropping Momo, which has been something I've been wanting to do as well. You feel really tempted to play Momo in this list, right? Because it's a 1-drop, and because it can search things, it can draw a card, like all of that's really, really tempting. But I don't think you have enough room or space to play enough Wano country cards to really make it, whiff less, right? I whiff with Momo very, very easily, I feel like, and I just feel like I just wasted, a card. I wasted, a Dawn to do it, and it just feels kind of bad. So I don't fault anyone for removing it. I think it makes sense, and if you can make it work without it, obviously first place is making it work. I think it's very strong. So the X-Drake is another card. I like this. The second place Treasure Cup event here in Long Beach ran 2 of these X-Drakes, and I think they're very strong. The fact that they're 5-drops, they're 6Ks too, which are pretty chunky. They're 1Ks, they're supernovas, and they have a really good on-play effect too. Just being able to give, pop something of 4 or less means that, if you're playing against something that's more aggressive, they're going to have a lot of cards that are sideways, which obviously you can attack into them, but if they, try to defend them, and sometimes you can bait resources out by them kind of defending. Like, let's say they have a Zoro out, you swing a 5k into it, they counter out, then you play the X-Drake, right? You lose a swing, but they lose a card in hand and board with the X-Drake play. So I think that really makes sense, and I like the idea of popping with it. Also, Basil Hawkins, which is not a super common card in this deck, running at 1. Another just great card. It can win a lot of matchups as well, being able to be a very good board control. And it's a 5-drop and a supernova, so all that kind of makes sense. Nico Robin I like in this deck too, just to help. I like playing this deck as less of a, very kind of quick aggro combo deck and more like a mid-range value-based one. And Nico Robin's a very, very good value-based card right now, so I think it's a good add. So I think that's all I want to talk about this one. Obviously, I think half Trafalgar Law is building the deck, but the other half is playing it consistently. Both very, very tricky to do. So very big congratulations, Jose, for that top placing there. Next up, we have our second place. This is Mirkorco's Eustass Kid. Running green here and having some unique choices too. Right off the bat, they are running the Sachi and Penguin engine. I don't know if engine's the right word, but combo. They're both pretty much 3-cost blockers. The Sachi is a blocker on play. If you don't control Penguin, you get to play a Penguin from your hand. And Penguin, same thing with Sachi, so if you don't have that. They're both blockers. Obviously, Sachi is a little bit better because it's a consistent 4K, and this is a 2K. It's really weird that they made it just... like Sachi's just like uniquely better, like almost immediately, but it's whatever. So the combo you can do here is that if you see all your cards, you can use Eustass Captain Kid to play using its effect to play the Sachi, and then the Sachi can play the Penguin or vice versa. And that's really strong because now when you play your Captain Kid, you can guarantee to have 2 blockers out, which means, not guarantee, but if you do the combo, you'll have 2 blockers out, which means that this Eustass Captain Kid is probably sticking around for another turn. It's very, unless they specifically have like Luffy and to ignore blockers, or they have like Otama Jet Pistol, right? But even so, like that's strictly like against red. So I think it's a very neat little combo. I wonder how often it works. Obviously, there's no kind of way to get Heart Pirates, at least searching wise, which is unfortunate because if we get one, it'd be really nice because Beppo's a Heart Pirate and also Trafalgar Law is. So all that would be like some good tags to have a search card for. So I can see that also just getting better as time goes on. But that is like the big thing. It's running no event cards besides the 1 Straw Sword. I personally kind of like the minimal event cards. I think you always kind of want to maximize your Dawn with this deck. You always want to play all of it. And the only other thing is that I'm surprised there's no 7-drop Eustass Kid. That's kind of been a popular card out here in North America, but none in this play. Just saying, you know what? I'm just doubling down, saying the 8-drop Eustass Kid can win games. And it looks like it can because it got you in second. So congrats again to Mirkorco for their finish there. And next up we have Gaetano's top 4 Kaido. And this is Kaido, I think, kind of fell off a little bit here in North America. At least the Treasure Cup in Long Beach, only 1 got into top 16. Niagara had a little bit more, but they had quite a few over in the UK. And I'm wondering if it's more just, I don't know if the meta is as fast traditionally when I look at UK kind of events or just EU, events. They are just slower. Their meta is a little bit more value based, a little bit slower, and I wonder if that's also additionally why Zoro didn't make a top 16 finish, just because maybe less people are playing that in favor for Luffy or just Eustass Kid for value and just everything else. But going over this list, they are playing 2 of the Orochi 1-drop. This honestly, like if you're going first and you got nothing better to do, like just playing this turn 1 to help you clean up the board against certain matchups is kind of strong. So I have been liking that, and just to kind of see like kind of what's in your deck, which means what's in your life, to kind of get some just insight on that. One Who's Who, interesting. 3 King, 3-3 split. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own blessed ratio of 6-drop King, 7-drop King, 9-drop Kaido, 10-drop Kaido, and it looks like it's 3-3-3-3. Threes all around. So they're fine. I don't have my own ratios that I like yet. Honestly, Kaido's a really hard deck to play consistently in 9 rounds of Swiss. But if you have a lot of people playing it, there will be those players who will get those results that they need, and they will get there. So for Blast Breath, 2 Thunder Bagua and Brasho Bomber at 1. I think this is getting a little like a one of this card. I think is becoming more and more common for what we're seeing, and that's about it. Kaido's generically half the deck is already kind of built for you already. There's some ratio choices, but it's very strong, and when it goes off, and sometimes it does. So congrats to Gaetano for their top 4 placement there. And then we have our solo Luffy player here, and this is pretty close to I'm going to say, like, this is almost exactly the build that I run. This is almost card for card that I'm running right now. The differences for mine is that I don't know if this was a mistake or not, that they just didn't have another Rush Zoro, or they decided to have this big Luffy boy, but there's that. So I don't know. I would almost always run 4, but I also know that this is an expensive card right now, so that's that. Radical Beam, I would favor Red Hawk instead of Radical Beam, but it is like a one cost 4k counter is pretty good. Sabandi I've ran for a long time. I think it's okay for what it is. I mean, if you don't have a better 1-drop play, that's better. Trafalgar Law I like. Brook I really like. Ben Beckman I've been kind of turned on the idea that he's kind of good for what he is. And then the only other change I've made is like Brook. Instead of this, I run like the Luffy promo. But I ran Brook for a really long time because honestly, I just didn't have the Luffy promo, so it was just about as good. And I don't know. I've been running a deck very, very similar to this, and I've been getting a lot of success for it for a very long time. So I'm not gonna presume that he copied off me, or like I got any inspiration from me at all. But I'm just saying personally, I would totally run this deck. This looks like something I'd be running and playing, and it looks very strong. So anyways, this is Duc Son Nyugen's list here, and very good, big congratulations to Luffy, making sure he gets on the map and getting that top 16 finish. So thank you very much personally for that. And lastly, we have Jonny Turner's top 16 Doffy, and this is almost identical to what we saw at Treasure Cup Long Beach. Now these are 2 different events that are running at the exact same time across the world. So obviously they independently came up with these deck lists, but they're very, very close. They're almost identical. The only differences that I see are a couple ratios. With the 1-drop Trafalgar Law, I think most of the ones here ran 4, and then the kind of top end as well. So Virgo is Don Quixote do Flamingo, Draco Mihawk, and Love Beam. Also only 3 Marshall D Cheech. I think most of them ran 4. But that they're pretty similar. Like this is the idea. Virgo being a 5/7 is pretty good, and the hardest matchup for this deck is the matchup against green, in my opinion, with the Eustass kids. So having a way to kind of start, having a way to attack over it with Virgo is really great. Or the 7-drop or the 9-drop, and being able to use those to help you get some W's is really strong. So I think Don Quixote do Flamingo is probably a little bit better than I gave it credit for going into these Treasure Cups. It's been topping a lot, and I think it's been strong. So I'm going to have to I'm going to be testing it a little bit more. Pretty much all the builds that I've been topping have been looking pretty identical, which is nice that it's topping. It's a little shame that they have to be almost near identical, but I think that's just with the card pool we have. It's set 1, so we don't have a giant card pool. We know it's getting better because we get that Jinbei promo that from the tournament packs too, and it's really cool. I'm happy blue is getting some tops, because otherwise I didn't think that blue was, I thought like blue just wouldn't get any tops in this weekend, so I think that's cool. So congrats again to Jonny for their finish there, and that is going to be the video for us today. Again, thank you so much to Blessly Pack for doing the hard work with these inputs. I really do appreciate it. It was a nice surprise to get them for free for once, not have to do it myself. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to Organized Play Events for running the event in the first place. Make sure to check out their Facebook and their live stream on Twitch, and that will be it for me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.